Hey everybody, I am so glad that you're here checking out this video today as we celebrate the Christmas season. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally love a good party, and I'm always glad when somebody invites me to one. And maybe somebody shared this video with you today. Maybe the invitation to even check it out surprised you. And you may or may not have been sure, will I be welcomed, or will I be included, or will I be accepted? Whether that's, in any environment, and especially at the church. So when somebody invites you to come and be a part of something, you're definitely a little surprised. And I think we can all relate to that, right? That we've all been surprised when we've been invited to be a part of something before. Maybe we made the team when we didn't expect to, or we got accepted into the club that we had to apply for. Or maybe we felt like, the friend group that we were in was really just a group of people that were far more popular than we were. And so being invited or included in those groups probably made us wonder this question: how did I even get here? And if you've ever had that thought, you actually have a lot in common with the people who celebrated the very first Christmas thousands of years ago. So let's go back and way back to the very first Christmas. You see, for thousands of years, the people of Israel were waiting on their Messiah. They were waiting on their Savior. He was the one that God had promised who would come and change everything for them. He was the one that would save them from their sins. And as they waited and waited and waited, a lot of people had ideas about how this was going to happen. And more than that, they had ideas about who was actually going to get to hang out or to be close to the Savior of the world. They had a lot of thoughts about who was going to be invited. But of course, everything about how the Savior actually arrived in the world was rather surprising. Because most people thought, well, he'll come and he'll only hang out with religious leaders or with kings or with people who have a lot of power. But here's what actually happened. It says there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them. The glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people." You see, the first people that were invited to see Jesus, the Savior, when he was born, weren't kings and weren't people of prestige and power. They were shepherds. Now, in the past installment of this, we talked about, this a little bit and why it might be surprising. Because while you might not live in a place where there are a bunch of sheep, back then shepherds weren't really the most well-known or well-respected people. They weren't rich or powerful or even religious in many cases. They weren't people that anybody thought about, inviting or including to meet the Savior of the world. And that's why it was so shocking that an angel not only showed up, but announced to them that Jesus had been born, but also that the angel invited them to go see Jesus for themselves. Now, I have no way of knowing for sure why God chose to let them know first, but I do know that God does everything on purpose. And I can't help but think that God was making a point about the kind of people that were invited to see Jesus. Because it wasn't the super rich, it wasn't the super powerful, it wasn't the super religious, but instead it was everyone. And because of this, we see that it was good news of great joy for all the people. And that's why I wanted to just share with you briefly today about this, is because I want you to know you're invited too. Now, I don't know what your experience with church has been like before. Maybe it's been awesome and maybe it hasn't. Maybe, this is your first time checking out anything from a church. But no matter what category you fall into, I want you to know that we're excited that you chose to check out this video today. Because you could be doing anything else, but instead you decided to watch this. And no matter what you felt before, you clicked on this video, and I want you to know you're invited. Not just to join our student ministry each week, but to be included in the family of God, to be a part of the story that God is writing in this world, to follow Jesus every day. You see, being a part of our student ministry doesn't mean that you have to act a certain way, that you have to believe everything that everybody else believes, or that you have to do anything specific to belong. You see, here's what being a part of our ministry is all about. Is being you, the real you, the way you are, and knowing that you're invited and that you're included. In fact, we hope you'll join us in 2024, as we'd love to have you hang out with us each and every week. Why? Because you're invited, and we hope you'll come see it for yourself. Have a fantastic rest of your day and a wonderful and very Merry Christmas. And we look forward to seeing you soon.